Alright, I'm back with another Destiny 2 video, and after the absolute chaos that was the showcase yesterday, I'm here to talk about Season of the Plunder specifically now that we're about a day into it here, and not only we have all the reveals, but we've actually been able to play it. I will say that up front, this is starting out, I would say, a good amount stronger than Season of the Haunted. Season of the Haunted did give us one big new zone in the form of Leviathan. Well, that is very cool, and you do not normally see seasons add entire zones like that. It became clear pretty quickly that the core loop design here was just doing way too much nightmare containment. At the very least here, we are split between two major activities, and I can see, when either one of these could have been an entire seasonal activity by themselves. If it was just one or the other, maybe it wouldn't have been a very strong seasonal activity, but both of them together means we're almost getting kind of double, two seasonal activities for the price of one. I'll play a little bit of both of them here. I've recorded this earlier on my Hunter, who I'm having a great time with his fabulous sidearm, which is Pugilist Swashbuckler, and then the Origin trait Right Hook, so it is all melee-based stuff. In addition to the Liar's Handshake build. I'm not really good at remembering what the exact combo is I'm supposed to do with Liar's Handshake anymore. I was using a 1-2 punch shotgun, but now I'm just running around with the sidearm because it's a lot of fun. And I'll get into some Arc 3.0 stuff a little later too. The Ketchcrash idea is very fun. Just at baseline, you can see how much fun they had kind of coming up with this concept of two fallen pirate ships fighting each other and then boarding the other ship. It is really chaotic. They have really done the whole enemy density thing with the Fallen this time. I do not know if there are other versions of this, if there's going to be a ship that's mostly crewed by Cabal or something, because we have seen Cabal mixed in with the Fallen here in these pirate crews for sure. So I'm wondering if that will change week to week. I'm guessing at the very least the boss will change, and as you play you can kind of see how you experience different paths forward as different doors will open and you will go into various rooms. I'm kind of assuming that at baseline that won't fundamentally change that much. I would be surprised if there was an entire other set of entirely unique Cabal rooms that don't have spider tanks and servitors and whatever. That would be a little surprising to me. I would certainly welcome that, but I'm not sure if I'm expecting that. Maybe just kind of alternate bosses at the end there, which is one thing I'm sure we're getting. It's a lot of fun. I will say in the current iteration of it with 6-man at low power level, it does kind of suffer from the same thing that plagues all seasonal 6-man activities, where it's almost like there's too many people here, and it can be a little hard to find meaningful fights or interesting fights because everyone is just nuking everything at all times, especially now with our 3.0 and chain lightning everywhere. I mean, really all the 3.0 subclasses are just good at AoE mob nuking. So that'll change. I mean, there is a master difficulty version of it with champions and higher power and match game and all that fun stuff, so maybe that is more appropriate for a group of 6. But the difficulty is not anything significant here. It's just kind of blaze through this. But that is, that's just kind of a seasonal activity issue at its core. I do like the creativity in what they've done with all these different segments. The idea of okay, it's not just 2 fallen walker tanks. You have to get one down to half, and then you got to find a scorch cannon and then shoot all these weak points and then go back and kill it again. Stuff like that is pretty fun, and I think they're at least trying to mix it up with some creativity here. As you'll notice, I'm not using a grenade launcher in this because you just don't really need to. I think I have my linear fusion on here because it's good at killing the little servitors at the end that are shielding the main boss. So as you may have heard, grenade launchers are fully broken, doing at least pretty much double damage, 50% damage increase, 200%. I'm not sure. It's a lot. So if you want to burn down a bunch of bosses, feel free to grab any of those because they are all broken for now. So it's a good activity. I see how it feeds into the other loop where you get treasure pieces and then you go to an expedition to dig up treasure. An expedition is what I would call a Season of the Worthy level seasonal event, where it's a public event that if it was by itself, if this was the seasonal event for Plunder, that would be not great. I think you'd get a lot of complaints, but it's just like the lesser half of two halves of the total seasonal event, and there's some other stuff on top of that too. Here you are escorting a treasure tank and throwing treasure at the treasure tank. No Destiny season is complete without throwing orbs or engrams in this case at something else. This is a 3-man activity, so you are not really doing the same like 6-man totally steamroll through everything idea. 3-man makes it a little more manageable. Both in this and the other activity, you can summon fallen crew members. It's always fun to summon NPCs. While the NPCs may not be actually killing things at anywhere near the same pace as you, they smartly gave them like extra bonuses. Like I have the one that will give you increased precision damage, and then they will give you more bonuses as time goes on, and you can upgrade them through the helm. This activity, you roll through it, and then if you've assigned yourself a treasure map, you dig up some treasure at the end. And then past all of this, I don't really understand how pirate lords fit into this. That seems to be kind of maybe the weekly thing, where each of these pirate lords has some sort of relic that you bring back, because like the pirate lord thing for this week, from what I've seen, is not actually repeatable. You just kill this Cabal person and take the relic and bring it back. That unlocks some seasonal lore stuff, but besides that, it's not like something you're running on repeat. So that might be kind of substituting in for like the weekly story mission. I'm assuming we're going to get different dialogue in both of the other activities as time goes on. And then, of course, through all of this, I've been using Arc 3.0, which I have to say, I think it's starting out pretty strong. You are amplified way, way more often than I figured you would be. Like, the uptime on amplified is just absurdly high, because all it takes is, a couple of multi-kills. And, like, when aren't you getting multi-kills in combat for the most part? And then you can get, you get so many different bonuses when you're amplified depending on your class. Like, there's all these different aspects and fragments that relate to being amplified. I'd say I probably notice it the most on Warlock, because the Warlock gets like a super enhanced melee that like, erupts 3 times if you have like the old Chaos Reach one and stuff like that. Titans have enhanced grenades. Hunters, I forget what their amplified bonus is, but I don't know. I feel like I'm jolting a lot of things. Jolt, I wasn't really like quite clear on what Jolt would be. Jolt is Chain Lightning, essentially. Like, it's a little different than like Risk Runner Trinity Ghoul Chain Lightning, because it emanates from a specific enemy. Like, you'll jolt an enemy and then that enemy will pulse. All of the Jolt's enhancements for Arc 3.0 seem to be really, really promising, and you were just totally clearing things. 2 things that have stood out to me for Jolt specifically are the new exotic, I think, was it Fragile Tomb, where the point of that fusion rifle is if you collect an ionic trace, it overcharges your fusion, and your next charge will jolt enemies. So it's like an AoE mob clear based on collecting ionic traces. And then the new perk that I cannot remember the name of right now, I talked about it yesterday, but it is the new Arc 3.0 perk where after a kill, if you reload, your next shot will jolt enemies for a certain amount of time. It is better than Incandescent, I would argue, because Incandescent really did rely on a lot of different kind of factors, where like Incandescent was like really, really good on, Dawn Course Warlock's builds, and like, so it was like okay on everything else. But Jolt here, the Jolt shot on this is just nutty. I have one of these sidearms that does not have Swashbuckler. It has literally can't remember the name of the perks. Volt charge, some Volt rounds, I don't know, something like that. But it just nukes things, and that is active very, very often. I feel like that is easily going to be one of the strongest perks of the season here. And there aren't that many keywords, I guess, in Arc 3.0. It's like Amplified, which gives you all these speed boosts, and then Jolt are the main ones. And like there's other things like Blind, but I haven't seen Blind really come up that much in combat. Maybe, sometimes for your AoE punch and things like that, but it's just, you're not blinding enemies very often. You're mostly just frying them with electricity. The speed boosts are just so addicting, where it is tough, like when you lose them, and it's tough to play other classes because you just get so used to that speed boost. and like it's what I imagine like 200 mobility would be like. And like I joked on Twitter, like they didn't buff mobility except that when you run Arc 3.0 you could literally have like negative mobility and it wouldn't matter because you're just going so fast. And like it's not just your movement, like movement is a part of it. Big jumps, big slides, like you can see all of the synaptic sphere influences that Kevin was talking about, but it's also like just your handling is nutty. Like my reload speed, you know, gets really crazy even without any dedicated reload perks through all the different Arc 3.0 aspects and fragments. There's one fragment that melee hits increase your reload speed. So for this build, that's like perfect. So that's, you know, one of the reasons I'm having just this insane reload speed. But like just everything is so much faster all of the time, which is a lot of fun. I've obviously also had a great time with the new Hunter Arc Super. It is one of the most satisfying things in the game, I would argue right now, to throw your staff and have it stick in an enemy. I was not expecting it to literally like get stuck in an enemy's chest or face and then have them walk around with the pulsing electric thing on it. That is extremely fun. I very much enjoy that. Some things I have not gotten to yet. I have not pre-ordered Lightfall to get that new exotic that I don't know if it's good or not yet. That's a little controversial. I might do a separate thing on that later. I have just gotten the new Hunter exotic armor because that was the only one that was available by the time I'm recording this. And it's like a really complicated void thing where it's like bonus damage after you are done being invisible, and then if you do a finisher where you're invisible, you get a bunch of overshields that you can like save up for you and your team. I don't quite understand it. It seems a little overly complicated, and I wish it was just something with Arc, because Hunter has some really, really garbage Arc exotics. It has a couple good ones, but things like Blight Ranger and stuff like that are just egregiously terrible, and I was hoping for something more interesting in the Arc department, and Titan and Warlock did get Arc. So overall impressions are positive. I didn't really even touch on the story. I think I touched on that yesterday a bit. Very excited about this cast. Drifter, Spider, Ido, Mithrax, Aramis. Very, very solid cast. Just the idea of just the very fun pirate theme here is a little bit of a refreshing change of pace, I guess, from the ongoing March to the Witness. And like if you read the lore, this is the Witness. The Witness did free Aramis, and the Witness is tasking Aramis with hunting down these relics for some reason. We don't know why, and Aramis is like, okay, whatever, I guess I'll do it, but she doesn't seem super happy about it considering it left her encased in ice for all that time, and also gave us stasis and pitted us against her, so she's not thrilled about that. And I don't know where this is going. I don't know if we're going to end up killing Aramis for good, or if Aramis will be a disciple, or if Aramis will join us. I don't know. I guess we'll see. We're really, really, really early in the story here, so it's not super clear where this is going, but we'll see. Anyway, you know, first impressions are always pretty positive when you just leap into a new season, and I can't fully say for sure that, like, this loop is better than Haunted, and, like, this, you know, Arc 3.0 starting stronger than Solar. Like, I don't know if I can say that for 100% sure yet, but I know I am having fun right now. This does seem overall like a more meaty season than last season, which I think everyone is going to appreciate, and the pirate theme is very fun. So those are my kind of early impressions. I will get into more specific things about the season to come. No video tomorrow and Friday. I am out of town. I will miss the raid race, as I've said a few times here, but I will try and catch up on it later and tweet about it or something. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I will talk to you later. Take care.